In case you missed my announcement last week, I am going on a road trip coming up this fall. I get a lot of questions about this trip, so I thought I would make this video and answer a few of the ones I get most often. When am I going? I leave bright and early October 1st. I will be gone 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how long the money lasts, how long my mom will put up with my cats, and whether or not Anna Kendrick does a book signing in LA. Where am I going? I'm driving up to Chicago and then west down old Route 66, all the way to LA and the coast, wherever the most western point of Route 66 is. Then I'm going to drive back this direction all the way home. Wait, if you don't have a job, how are you going to pay for this trip? I'm so glad you asked. I started saving for this trip over 2 years ago before I started working at Disney World. A couple dollars here, a couple cents there, and then in March I started saving upwards of a couple $100s a month. So now I've almost reached my goal, and I should be right there when I get to October 1st. So I have saved up quite a while for this trip. But I'm also hoping to make some money as a writer, so if you have any freelance jobs, hit me up. If you know anyone who has freelance jobs, give them my email, and if you are interested in becoming a patron of my travel writing, there's a link to my Patreon. And worst case scenario, I have credit cards. Who are you taking on this trip? Layla. Yes, that Layla. Just me and her. So you're traveling alone to a place you don't know with your 13-year-old car. Doesn't that scare you a little bit? Okay, I usually evade this question, but just for you, I'm going to tell you the truth. Yes. I am both a creative person and an anxious person. So anything that you have thought could go wrong on this trip, I have probably thought about 5 times over. But I don't tell people this because I'm afraid that once I do, they'll start seeing it as an excuse to keep me from going. But even though I'm scared, I don't think that's a good enough reason not to go. I mean, it is a scary thing, but it's also a monumentally exciting thing. It's something I'm not going to be able to do in 10 or 15 years. This is my shot. And I don't want something like fear to stand in the way. Okay, so if being scared is not a good enough reason not to go, what's the big reason you are going? The first few times I answered this question, I said, I want to figure out who I am. Or I want to figure out what to do with my life. Or I just really want to figure out what my next step is. But in the last 6 months, I've already learned so much about myself that I didn't know last year. I already know what I want to do with my life. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it. And I already have a couple ideas what my next step could be. So I think now all I'm looking for is a little bit of adventure. Stepping outside my comfort zone. I'm still going to find out a lot about myself and how I deal with being so far away from everything I'm used to. But I feel like I have a really good foundation for it now. Also, while I'm figuring out what to do with my life, I'm trying to figure out what stories I can tell. Well, yay! I'm so excited, /worried, /concerned, /terrified for you, Kari. So how can I keep up with you and know that you're being safe on this trip? I have a blog, I have a Twitter, I have a Snapchat, I have an Instagram, all of which will be linked to below. You can follow me on any of those, and I will be snapping, tweeting, and blogging about my adventure the entire way. Also, if you want postcards, or if you just want to get the stories as soon as they are available, you can always support me on Patreon, also linked below. And yes, I'm counting down. 25 days to go. I can't wait to see what stories I get to tell along the way.